Hey there, Watertown. We are going to be getting into our next video series for tutorials. This one's going to be on our MasterCAM software. MasterCAM software is what we're going to be using for running our Haas CNC mills. You're going to need to bring in your CAD files into MasterCAM, and you'll export out of that the code we need to run your parts on those CNCs. This particular video series is made in 2024 for MasterCAM 2023. Hopefully there's not a lot of changes in the software from now until the near future. And we are also using Itopia at Watertown High School for our virtual desktops on the Chromebooks. I've already logged into Itopia and connected myself to Google Drive. So the next step is going to be opening up the MasterCAM software. Just a double click to open it. It will take a little bit for this software to do its thing, so please have patience while it is loading up. Today's demonstration, we are going to be importing a basic part, not something that you necessarily have access to. It's a nice tutorial part I have created. We are going to then set up the machine for the G code or for the CNC that we have, rotating that part around in our workspace and doing some other things to get it set up and ready to go. We'll do similar steps when we bring in the tic-tac-toe project too. So MasterCAM is open. This is an industry-based software. You'll see companies in Watertown or in the area using this software. It's pretty high-end. So there's a lot of things and features that MasterCAM can do that we are not necessarily going to get into, which may make it feel a little bit complicated or cumbersome at times, so bear with us, and the more you use this software, the easier it will get. First thing we're going to do is open up our file. So we're going to go open. Again, we've already connected to Google Drive. We're going to go into your personal drive and find the file that you might need. I'll show you this again when we get to the tic-tac-toe project. So machine tool, and I don't see any files here. And the reasoning for that is we have it looking for MasterCAM files. We don't actually have any of those started yet. So we're going to click the drop down here and choose the type of CAD file we're going to be bringing in. For the most part, you're going to be using Autodesk Inventor here, or IPTs. There's a chance we might bring in a step file on an advanced project down the road, or maybe you imported an STL from the internet, whatever that might be. For the most part, Autodesk Inventor, and there's our file. Open that up, and it brings in the 3D model for us. Generally speaking, on MasterCAM, when you start, you're looking at the top view. I know when we teach CAD, we don't necessarily talk too much about orienting properly in that workspace top, front, right side view in the CAD world. We do when you print and do your working drawings with orthographics and dimensioning. But the actual model, we don't care much. On the CNCs, the orientation of that model absolutely matters because the table on the CNC cannot rotate for what we're doing. So generally speaking, there's a good chance you'll need to rotate your part in MasterCAM to make it the right way. If we right-click, go to an isometric, you'll see this little quadrant corner here with Z in the up direction, Y away from you, and X left and right. This sample part that I brought in, I drew for this purpose so we could see those different directions and to be able to rotate and move this block around. This is one of the confusing steps within MasterCAM, is bringing in your part and getting it oriented correctly. So this block hopefully will help us in that. We need the Z direction to be the same direction arrow as this Z here. So we do need to rotate it up. I can right click and go to these different views. There's a top view, there's a front view, here's a right side view, and so on. We need to get it so when we go to the top view, the top is actually pointing towards us, Z up. To do that, when we rotate, it's going to rotate around the axis that you're looking at in either clockwise or counterclockwise around that axis. So if we look at the different views here, if we want Z up matching the arrow, then it looks like it's this view that I'm going to rotate it around the screen. If I was on the right side view, it would rotate around here, and that's not going to help us any. So in this particular object, we need to start in the front view, but that's not always the same. So we're in the front view. We're going, hold on. One of the reasons we save often in Itopia, so let's do that right away. Let's go to save, put it in our part here as an actual MasterCAM file. That way it's saving and we can reopen from where we were. We're in that same folder we were in. All right, so we're gonna rotate this part. We're gonna go to transform and we're gonna go to rotate. It asks us what do we want to rotate here. Select entities. We're going to click the object and end. And you can see that it's going to rotate now around that. I could click and drag it, or I could type an angle in, but it's only going to rotate in one direction here. So this is perfect. We want Z, that's going to be eventually up. We want to make move, not a copy. If we do copy, it'll actually make two of these. We want to move it. And then the angle, we can tell it either positive 90 or negative 90, depending on what we want. If we click away, you'll see it actually moved that. Negative 90 was not right. So if I just go 90 now, there is 90 degrees with Z in the same direction. So we were able to do that in one rotation, which is great. We click the green check mark. Maybe you'd have to do it in two rotations, depending on the object you drew that you're bringing in. So if I go to top view now, top is correct. Y is away, X is this way. I could have had to rotate another time possibly, but we're good. All right, so we've brought the object in. We want to continue getting this part placed in the proper location on the table of the CNC before we try to set up our stock on this part. So we want to keep moving this around. Generally speaking, we use the top left back corner of a model of a CNC part as our 0, 0, 0 location. The machine has to know where it is and has to know where the part is. So it references a home 0, 0, 0 corner, which is generally this corner back here. Not all the time. Tic-tac-toe project will actually change that up a little bit, but we're gonna wanna make this our 0, 0. Seeing as it's already rotated correctly, this is an easy step by going move to origin and grabbing that corner, and it moved it so that it's in the 0, 0, 0 axis now. Our X, Y, Z is still the same correct directions. So far, so good. Let's say we want to move this part down or over more. If we go to the top view and we come in here and we go to translate, we can again choose what, that, and selection. We want to move it. And we can just tell it how far we want to go in what direction. So Z here is going to be away from us. X is up and down, or X is the way of my mouse. Y is, X is left to right. Y is this way, X is left to right, Z is in and out. So we want to go down, let's say negative 0.25, so negative a quarter inch, so down a quarter inch. And we can do check mark. And when we go to an isometric, you'll see that it moved down. Once we get it where we want it, let's go ahead and set up our machine and our stock next. So we've rotated it, moved it, it's right. So we're going to go to machine, mill, and we have an item in the list here, but the first time you go in, you probably won't see this. So we're going to go to manage list. I'm just going to get rid of that for a moment to show you when you come in, you probably don't normally see an option. So in manage list, we have some potential posts. These files are post files. That's what's going to allow us to export out our file from MasterCAM to be the correct code. We're going to be using right now anyways the default mill. There's two of them. This one here has an extra mm. It's going to be your metric millimeter file. We aren't playing in metric, so we're going to choose this other one without the mm, which is inch or standard. This does have a Haas post. It's not currently working. I would encourage in the future, if you're doing this and the Haas post is working, to use it, but they don't currently have that working right, so we're going to choose the mill default, add it, and OK. And then now we see that one as an option here. Once we've done that, the machine group comes in. So this is our machine setup, so that's great. We got our part rotated in there correctly. We got our machine loaded. Next is going to be the stock, so that when we simulate machining, the MasterCAM actually thinks there's material to take away. It's only for simulation purposes. You don't have to do stock setup technically to machine on the Haas. However, if you're simulating and trying to make sure everything's right, you do need to do this step. So we're going to go to stock setup. This is pretty simple in here. Again, a lot of things in here to pick from, but all we really need to do here is grab this little wireframe box, bounding box. It opens up another window, and all we're going to do here is just do all shown. And you can kind of see it makes a makeshift box around the object here. We could technically cheat and tell it bigger and where to move things. We're just going to do all shown and do check mark, and it makes this little pink box, see-through box around the part. And yes, and we have now made our stock for that part. Again, we're going to hit save often, so I'm going to hit save just so that part is in and ready to go. Theoretically, now we're ready to start machining. So these are the initial setup steps for going into MasterCAM. Is opening MasterCAM, opening your CAD file, saving it as a MasterCAM file, and then we're going to go through and rotate and move the object into the correct location so that it's ready to go. We're going to set up our machine, and then we're going to do our stock. This would be the same process on any part you bring into MasterCAM. Please remember, the parts you bring in may be oriented or rotated differently, so your goal is to get the top front right in the correct orientation in MasterCAM. It may not follow these steps exactly for what you're doing. Your product will not say top front right side on it. You need to know what is the top for in that mill. All right, the next videos are going to start opening up your tic-tac-toe products and going through step by step of how to use MasterCAM to do the tool paths and then eventually make that part on the CNCs. Good luck.